Another fatality was recorded over the weekend.
Nigeria records second COVID-19 death as Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State tests positive. President Buhari's speech on COVID-19 enthuses Nigerians. Measures and palliatives described as appropriate.
The Armed Forces of Nigeria is to implement all restrictions.
Armed Forces states readiness to enforce lockdown. Hello, welcome to the Network News with me, Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. Reading with me tonight is Hengina John Adams in Lagos. Thanks for joining us. Nigeria has recorded a second death from the coronavirus pandemic. Minister of Health, Dr. Osagi Ehanere, confirmed this at a media briefing in Abuja by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. Mitari Ikben reports.
With this briefing came an update on the COVID-19 pandemic.
Sadly, another fatality was recorded over the weekend in the person of a patient who had severe underlying illnesses. In addition to the well-known advisory, I am recommending that all families be aware that the elderly among them are the most vulnerable and should be specially protected from needless contact with children and persons who could be positive for the coronavirus infection. The same should be said for all persons who are known to have underlying diseases such as tuberculosis, HIV, cancer.
Chairman of the Presidential Task Force and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, appealed to Nigerians to cooperate fully with the 24-hour lockdown in Abuja as well as Lagos and Ogun states, as announced by President Muhammadu Buhari.
It's a total lockdown, except for essential services, except you are going to access specific needs like medical needs, except you're going out to buy food. Nothing would happen to us if we lock down for these 2 weeks and allow for the tracking of those that have been in contact with those infected.
The task force said steps are already being taken to roll out the palliatives announced by Mr. President.
Mr. President's speech on paragraph 54, he has also directed that the conditional cash transfers be given in advance of 2 months. This we have also called the program heads, and we have directed that we start immediate payment of this cash transfer to the most poorest and vulnerable households in our country.
We have deployed about 7,000 of the registered environmental professionals of Nigeria. They are already in the process of disinfecting, decontaminating, advocacy across the country.
In the coming days, Nigeria hopes to expand its present capacity of 6 testing laboratories and 30,000 test kits to combat the coronavirus pandemic. In Abuja, Mitari Ikben, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has tested positive to the coronavirus. The governor, in a tweet, informed the public that the result of his test is positive and that he was asymptomatic and will continue to self-isolate. In another development, Ebonyi State Governor Dave Omoahi has gone into self-isolation to ascertain his status after possibly being exposed to persons that are likely positive to COVID-19. Adebola Brookson Sunday is here with global update on the coronavirus pandemic.
The third month that the coronavirus have been ravaging the entire world, a disease that began in China has now made the United States of America its throne, where the confirmed cases have risen to over 142,000 with 2,000 deaths and about 27,000 in critical condition. Italy is the worst hit by the virus, with over 97,000 confirmed cases, while over 3,000 people are in critical condition. Spain, which has over 80,000 confirmed cases, recorded over 537 deaths in the last 24 hours, bringing the total number of deaths in the country to over 6,800, while over 4,000 are in critical condition. In the Middle East, Iran is on top of the table with over 38,000 confirmed cases, over 2,600 deaths, and over 3,200 are in critical condition. Africa appears to be the less affected continent with the coronavirus pandemic, which has affected 46 countries, over 4,600 cases, 146 deaths, 335 recoveries, and 8 of them free from the virus. South Africa maintained the top of the table in the continent with over 1,200 cases, 2 deaths, and 7 people in critical condition. Although Egypt has about half the confirmed cases in South Africa, but has the highest number of deaths in the continent, with none in critical condition. Algeria is just below the ladder with 31 deaths, over 500 confirmed cases, with none in critical condition. Despite its grip of the world, the good news is that over 156,000 people have recovered from the virus worldwide, including Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's wife, Sophie. I am Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday.
Reports just reaching us says that in Lagos, 5 persons who earlier tested positive to the COVID-19 virus have been discharged by the Lagos State Government. Nosa Isula has this update.
Who had been quarantined at the isolation center for weeks looked stable and unruffled. Although the discharged patients preferred anonymity, they expressed joy and satisfaction over the treatment they received. Speaking to the media, one of the patients told people not to panic as the virus could be defeated. While thanking Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu for his support and proactiveness, they pleaded that the workers at the center should be given life insurance.
I came in here on the 15th, and after the test proved inconclusive, was asked to come back the next day. And that next day, I was admitted alongside some others. Things turned out to be fine. We were taken care of by the officials, the health officials on ground, and all our complaints were attended to. And now, I'm a living proof, a living witness alongside my other colleagues that we can beat it. We can beat it. And I want to assure others that this is not their post. This is not their resting place.
Because from the second day I came here, there was improvement up to this moment. So thank you guys.
It would be recalled that Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu had earlier in the broadcast said that some patients who previously tested positive would be released if their confirmatory tests are negative. In Lagos, Nosa Osula, NTA News.
Less than 2 hours from now, the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Lagos and Ogun states will be on lockdown in line with the presidential directives aimed at containing the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. To ensure that the federal government's initiative on social investments programs are sustained during the lockdown, Ruth Aguele examines the task before the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development.
I've instructed the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. I have directed with the conditional cash transfers for the next 2 months be paid immediately. Our internally displaced persons will also receive 2 months of food rations in the coming weeks.
A presidential assignment putting the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development at the center for onward delivery. Though urgent, but for the minister, that is the essence of the ministry.
The president has directed that we should deploy food materials to these 3 affected locations, Lagos, Ogun and the FCT. I have directed DG NEMA to start the deployment of these food materials to these locations. The conditional cash transfers, which Mr. President has also directed that we should pay 2 months in advance. That we are working with the program coordinator to see that we effectively carry out that directive.
A 3-month repayment moratorium for trader money, market money and farmers' money is the tax before the ministry, and files to that effect already going through administrative check. In sustaining the school feeding program of the federal government and reaching out to internally displaced persons, efforts are already in place by the ministry to expand interventions for an effective response across the country.
Now we have deployed food ration for the period of 2 months to these official IDP camps, and we're expanding our intervention to even the unofficial IDP camps to make sure that we give them this 2 months food ration. The issue of the school feeding program, we are working with the program head to see how we liaise with the state governments, and we have to reach out to them through their homes to see that we give them this food ration.
As the lockdown commences in parts of the country, the minister emphasized that the ministry is open to partnership with non-governmental organizations to sustain livelihood. In Abuja, Ruth Aguala, NTA News.
We now join Doyin Dia in one of the supermarkets in Abuja with an on-the-spot assessment. Doyin, if you can hear me, what is the ambience and situation like where you are? Can you hear me? Doyin, what is the situation like and what's the ambience where you are?
Yes, sir.
Doyin, come on, can you hear me? What's the situation like where you are? We apologize for that loss in the audio quality of that live input we intended to bring you. But joining me in the studio is a legal practitioner, Kayode Ajulo, to talk more on the presidential broadcast on COVID-19. The broadcast that happened last night appeared to have calmed nerves and appeared to have also even solved some issues that a lot of people were apprehensive about. What is your take? How did you see the address?
Well, let me start that as expected. The broadcast that the president, the presidential, is like a statement that he is, and try to give like a report card of what have done. That is what my government has done for the time being from the day it has happened, and you can see. And I think this is what should be expected because, like you said, Nigerians are eager to learn from their leader, Nigerian leader eager to learn from their president, and that is exactly what it is. I think one need to really commend them about that. At least it gives some hope. It calms some nerves, really, and you can see the way everybody's so eager, so ready, and watch him with rapt attention. And I must say, to some point, he tried to give hopes, and you know where it comes from. The essence that the president is not in Nigeria, the president is sick, somebody is, but you can see it's too throughout for that broadcast. That is just to show. I think it is more of symbolism of it, and the way he tried to use the little few minutes to show this is what it is. I'm okay, I'm with you.
Now, what of the insinuations from some quarters that the president lacks powers to restrict the citizens' movements? In situations like this, wouldn't you say public safety overrides any other consideration?
No, it's so clear. I think our constitution takes care of all this. Yes, some people may say because you can't restrict movement, that based on the fundamental rights provision, that is particularly in chapter 4. But at the end of that chapter, chapter 45 really explains where you can derogate from all that section, and that is really clearly states where you can derogate.
Can you briefly tell us chapter 45?
And that's why from that chapter it talked about public safety. That is even the subsection A of that talked about public safety, and particularly, and secondly, B talks about in the situation where you are trying to even enforce some other form of other human right, and that is why you see the two subsections 2 of that particular section now goes to the issue of state of emergency. So that one really explained that when some people were saying it has to be with the state of emergency before the president can review, you don't need to do that. That is why there is a divide between what the first one is when it comes to safety, public safety, for health hazard and all that. That is A. Then the B talked about
so Mr. President in that situation can override.
Of course,
the issue of going to the National Assembly.
Certainly, it can override. And apart from that, that section even make reference to other legislation that other legislation can take care of it. As it is, the situation where we are, I know many people, I can really understand their thinking and their sentiments that the president need to declare state of emergency, but I believe that is an overkill. It's even ridiculous. The issue we have today is a lone issue, that is health issue, and we the WHO, that's World Health Organization, has declared as pandemic. And as it is, I think the president need not to overheat the polity by saying under the height, that's quarantine height, this is what I'm doing, and I've rescript. Though I may add more that, and I believe after the president must have done that, the Attorney General must have been doing the rest.
Does Nigeria have quarantine laws?
Certainly. We have quarantine law of 1926. The law has been there.
Does it apply now?
The law still applies. The law still applies. That's why I said that section 45 even incorporate that law. That is why I said that nothing shall restrict any other law from being into force to take care of that. And that is why the quarantine law even make more than the president gives the president power to make regulation. Though I'm waiting for that regulation, and I believe the Attorney General is working on that regulation.
Mr. Kaide Ajulo, thank you so much for your insights and your assessment of the presidential broadcast on COVID-19.
Thank you very much.
We now go back to Doyin Dia, who is in one of the supermarkets in Abuja for an on-the-spot assessment. We'll take this story first before going back to Doyin Dia. In the meantime, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, has further cleared the air on the proclamation by President Muhammadu Buhari restricting movements on account of COVID-19. The Attorney General, who was responding to the criticism by Mr. Olu Adegborua, SAN, explained that the declaration by the President is valid, legal, and enforceable. Mr. Malami said the step taken by President Buhari is not only patriotic, but in overriding national interest that is erroneously being subjected to attack for allegedly being illegal. Olu Adegborua, SAN, had claimed that the President lacked the powers to restrict movements in any part of the country without the consent of the National Assembly. But Abubakar Malami noted that the President did not make a declaration of state of emergency under Section 305, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, which will have required the concurrence of both houses of the National Assembly. He further affirmed that Section 305, subsection 6 and subsection B of the 1999 Constitution as amended permits a proclamation of a state of emergency to run for a period of 10 days without the approval of the National Assembly, when the Parliament is not in session, as in the present situation wherein the National Assembly has shut down. The President, Mr. Malami said, sought to address the broadcast, a public emergency occasioned by a dangerous and infectious coronavirus disease. The restriction of movement came on the heels of advice received from the Federal Ministry of Health and the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, making the order a part of national quarantine measure. Back now to Doyin Dia, who is in one of the supermarkets in Abuja with an on-the-spot assessment. Doyin, if you can hear me now, what is the ambience and situation like where you are?
Yeah, thank you, Kudu. We are here at the Sahat stores in Gariki Area 11, and this is one of the stores in the Federal Capital Territory that usually have heavy turnout of shoppers. And this night we've seen the large turnout of people coming to do last shopping in preparation for these 14 days lockdown, which is going to commence at exactly 11 p.m. tonight. We spoke earlier with some of the cross-section of Nigerians who are making their last shopping here. And of course, they said since they don't know how it's going to be, they just have to ensure that they stock the house, even though they've made shoppings earlier. And I have one of the staffs, the officials of Sahat store here. Can you tell us your name?
My name is Sharif Ahmad Moy.
Okay, can you tell us how has it been so far?
Yeah, the situation here in Sahat stores is chaos due to the population of customers we have. There was, since about 4 days now, we have a large turnout of customers because of the situation in the country of this coronavirus. And then the information given by the government yesterday make people to, feed up the place, which the situation is somehow unmanageable here with us.
Okay, what items are they buying more?
The item they are buying is foodstuffs, really. With this foodstuff, everything is foodstuff because of the situation. They don't know the situation will be at home if the place have been locked down. The whole FCT have been locked down, so they are thinking of the condition it will be at home. So they are shopping foodstuff to stock their house.
Okay, thank you very much. One interesting thing about this development is that this is actually the first time that Nigerians are going to be experiencing this kind of lockdown. And as it is, nobody can actually explain what lies ahead. But from what the people I spoke with earlier told me is the fact that they actually support all the measures put in place by the federal government of Nigeria. And of course, they express confidence in the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces, President Muhammadu Buhari, especially on his nationwide broadcast with all the assurances given and the palliative measures to ensure that even as the government locked down some parts of the country to ensure that it controls the further outbreaks of this COVID-19, that at least Nigerians have all it takes to cope with the development.
Doing very quickly, did you notice any panic buying, and what will you say of the security situation as we move to the countdown on to 11 p.m., the beginning of the lockdown? Okay, thank you, Doi. And report just reaching us says 20 new cases of COVID-19 have been reported in Nigeria. 13 in Lagos, 4 in the Federal Capital Territory, 2 in Kaduna, and 1 in Oyo State. As at 9 p.m. 30th March, there are 131 confirmed cases of COVID-19 reported in Nigeria, with 2 deaths. President Muhammadu Buhari has assured Nigerians that all funds donated to fight the coronavirus will be properly utilized for its purpose, and also to reposition Nigeria's health care system.
President Muhammadu Buhari acknowledged with appreciation the kind gesture of captains of industries, corporate entities, missionaries, musical artists, and individuals who have consistently supported the ongoing efforts to mitigate COVID-19 pandemic. The president also expressed gratitude to a group of oil companies who partnered with the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation to donate $30 million. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President, Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, noted that other supporters include the national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Dr. Mike Adenuga Jr., Modupeola and Folorunsho Alakija of Famfa Oil, and Dr. Emeka Ofo, who joined a list of other public-spirited Nigerians in contributing health and educational facilities in the bid to contain the virus. Other contributors include Zenith Bank PLC, Keystone Bank, First Bank PLC, and senior pastor of Dunamis International Gospel Center, Dr. Paul Eneche, and his wife, and Stallion Empowerment Initiative of the Stallion Group, while urging Nigerians to follow all the guidelines provided by the Ministry of Health, states, governments, and National Center for Disease Control. The president enjoined all intending donors to channel their contributions through the Presidential Task Force for the Control of the Novel Coronavirus in Abuja, doing Dia. NTA News.
Time now for some messages. The news continues after this timeout. Stay with us.
Welcome to our wonderful world of data with these incredible new offers from your #1 4G network nationwide. Glow Unlimited.
The deadly coronavirus, it moves too fast across the surface of our planet. The Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, ALGON, advised to stay safe and guide yourself with the right information. Avoid contact with sick persons. Ensure you wash your hands with water and soap or apply alcohol-based hand sanitizer always. Practice social distancing with no more than 20 persons. If you are coughing and sneezing frequently, please stay away from people and contact health officials for further examinations and treatments. The virus spreads easily when you touch infected materials, fabrics, wooden surfaces, and even metals. So avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth with your unwashed hands. To protect our world from COVID-19, it's our collective responsibility. ALGON says, stay safe, stay home. This message is from Barrister Alabi Kolade David, President, Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, for and on behalf of the 774 local governments in the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Shola, come and help me. You need to learn.
But I'm more interested in drawing.
How are you going to be part of the business if you don't learn?
You just don't understand.
Morning. Anyone for some Lipton?
The rich taste of Lipton awakens body and mind.
Let me have a look at your drawings. Son, these designs are amazing.
Lipton Yellow Label Tea. Awaken to what really matters.
And Kara shopping with the right place for.
That one no fine.
No, it's too dull.
This one.
Oh wow, it's beautiful.
Omo, this fabric. It gon' fade though.
Yeah. Look, make I tell you something. The new area Ankara, it go take good care of it. Right? Not lie. Not true.
And the price?
Cheap.
Try new Ariel on your Ankara and colors now.
In our nation drive to boost its economic base through non-oil export, Smedan has taken the challenge of industrializing our nation through a program called OLOP. OLOP is a program which identifies a product in a local government that has competitive and comparative advantage. And the aim of the program is to reach the 774 local governments and help the nation to industrialize. With the support of the federal government, Smedan was able to reach 218 local governments in our country by providing the cooperative group training, workspace, equipment, and working capital. We call on all the critical stakeholders in MSME ecosystem, as well as the international development partners, to join us in our vision to transform the economy of this country under the transformation agenda of Mr. President in Smedan. Think big and start small.
Introducing the new Nivea Dry Impact and Dry Comfort Deodorant. Now with quick dry effect and longer lasting fragrance. Guaranteed to keep you feeling dry and fresh all day. Proven 48-hour protection and longer lasting fragrance from Nivea.
Never get caught unfresh with the new Nivea Dry Fresh Deodorants.
The coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, is spreading at an alarming rate all over the globe, including Nigeria. With the number of infected persons in Nigeria increasing daily, prevention is better than cure. Coronavirus has no cure. The virus spreads from one person who affects two persons, and by the time the affected person is isolated, the two persons have affected four, and it keeps spreading. You must take preventive measures to save yourself and that of the people around you. Always wash your hands with soap and water. Put distance between yourself and others. Whenever you cough or sneeze, cover your mouth. Clean and disinfect surfaces. Stay at home if you're sick and contact the proper authorities. Together, we can cut down the spread of the coronavirus. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest TV network.
Thank you for remaining with the network news. More groups react to the presidential broadcast on measures to contain coronavirus pandemic. Ruth Agwele compiled the report.
Although anxiousness and boredom characterize the shutting down of most activities, the people of neighboring Nasarawa states told the FCT have expressed confidence in the initiative rolled out by the federal government to prevent escalation of coronavirus pandemic in the country as contained in the presidential broadcast.
Because at a time like this, it's very important for leaders worldwide to come out and, of course, let the people know the true situation and what they are doing about it.
If it's one thing to release money, it's another thing. Proper monitoring of the fund released must actually be done to ensure that it is used for the purpose for which it is meant.
Meanwhile, the Buhari Media Organization has called on Nigerians to have faith in the present administration as great number of projects have been lined up to address the challenges occasioned by the coronavirus pandemic and effort to contain its further spread. In a statement by its chairman, Niyi Akinshiju, the government has rolled out additional measures including restructuring of the social investment programs, control of the fast-growing personnel costs by efficiency measures, provision of fiscal relief for taxpayers and key economic sectors, and tax holidays. The group stated that the decision in locking down Irish State is a global trend and urged Nigerians to ignore biased criticism of the Buhari administration in its effort to stop the spread of the coronavirus, especially by opposition. Meanwhile, the minority caucus in the Senate has commended federal government's approach towards combating the ravaging COVID-19 virus as contained in President Muhammadu Buhari's broadcast to Nigerians. In a statement by the Senate Minority Leader, Senator Yinaya Baribe, the caucus is ready to work and engage in a bipartisan manner with the presidency and is even ready to reconvene should the need arise to ensure that the country ward off the COVID-19 virus.
That was Doyin Dia, not Ruth Agwele, as we earlier announced. Still on the coronavirus pandemic, as states step up measures to curb the spread of COVID-19, correspondents examine the level of compliance by Nigerians across the country. Linda Okore Igwe has the report.
In Abuja, Abdullahi Suleiman Yaji reports that residents of the Federal Capital Territory living in the suburbs are making efforts to comply with the stay home and the social distancing. In Makurdi, Bim Hanya reports that in an effort to curtail the spread of COVID-19, Benue State government has imposed dusk to dawn curfew that takes effect today, Monday, the 30th of March, while Wednesday, all entry points into the state will be closed. From Osogbo, correspondent Joshua Ogunjide says Osun State has commenced full screening of all travelers across her boundaries with neighboring states. The story from Onitsha, Anambra State, is not different, as Ekene Ndulwe reports that Anambra State government has closed the Niger Bridge to all vehicles except those conveying petroleum, agricultural and other essential products. Also in Delta State, Ogochukwuka Ona reports that the state government has closed her boundaries with neighboring states in the fight against the spread of COVID-19. In Abuja, Linda Okori Igwe, NTA News.
The Nigerian military says it will enforce the stay-at-home order issued by President Muhammadu Buhari to curb the spread of COVID-19 in Lagos, Ogun, and the Federal Capital Territory, FCT. This was announced by the Coordinator, Defense Media Operations, Major General John Enenche, in a news conference in Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has the report.
The military, a versatile multi-sectoral agency, has been active, playing complementary roles in the global drive to curb the spread of COVID-19. In Nigeria, under its non-kinetic program, it provides 17 medical facilities spread in 6 geopolitical zones and recalling retired medical personnel to support the management of people infected with the virus.
We shall continue planning.
Now, following President Muhammadu Buhari's stay-at-home order for residents of Lagos, Ogun, and the Federal Capital Territory, as from 11 p.m. 30th March, the military is set to enforce the restriction of movement.
The Armed Forces of Nigeria is to implement all restriction on movement in line with the federal government of Nigeria.
Meanwhile, as part of its corporate social responsibility, Mutual Commitment Company, a Chinese firm based in Nigeria, has donated COVID-19 protective kits comprising face masks and hand gloves to the defense headquarters Abuja for the safety of Nigerian troops.
China and Nigeria are brother countries who are united as one family. So problem happens here is just the same thing like a problem to our own self.
The company has made similar presentation to the Nigerian Television Authority. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
The traditional rulers are offering words of advice to their subjects and providing some essentials as measures towards addressing the hardship as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Here's the report.
Kaduna State is first state to lock down as a measure to fight the coronavirus, and traditional rulers are pleased with the step taken and called on their subjects to see it as a solidarity for all.
I'm appealing to all of you to maintain personal and environmental hygiene, abide by rules and regulations, and avoid large gatherings.
I call on people to stay at home and obey expert advice.
The package I have is to appeal to our people, especially in the southern part of this state, to obey the government. If the government says there is curfew, then there is curfew. We have to obey.
In Jigawa State, the Duse Emirate distributed materials worth 283 million naira to the 28 districts. The distribution, which was done in separate locations, is in line with the federal government directive of banning large gatherings.
Islam is one of the best source of social security that is obtained in the history of this world.
Like him in his ability to keep what they give to him and his ability to give it out to the people that are supposed to take this kind of the cut.
This was really commended by the beneficiaries. In Abuja, doing Dia, NTA News.
Countdown to the lockdown of the Federal Capital Territory now is in hours and not in days. But will petrol stations be opened during this period? Let's get some clarifications.
Abuja, a city in its last moments to lockdown. All racing to get what can sustain them for fortnight. But the vehicles doing the racing need not to worry because the filling stations will be open during the lockdown. But the owners are afraid, so the queues are emerging, while some not dispensing.
I'm not aware that filling stations will be open tomorrow.
I don't know about it.
The filling stations will be open.
That is why they say my Ogasi we should be coming to work, 2 supervisors, 2 attendants for all those exercises so that we can be able to give it to public.
Department of Petroleum Resources, DPR, is out on the field. 1, to allay the fears, and secondly, to ensure no hoarding of the product. So, close check on the manifest and physical monitoring
of the underground content.
The retail outlets are supposed to be opened. So that's why we are out here today, to make sure that all the stations are opened.
Unreliable electricity compels many to get petrol for their generating sets.
Since there is no movement, you have to buy for the generators and the cars so that you'll be able to sustain yourself for the period.
But the presence of DPR keeps some wedded to their own jerrycans because DPR frowns at it.
Filling station owners, they should desist from selling to a jerrycan.
Quite a lot of discomfort, but it's a price to pay for the eradication of COVID-19 by all. Mie Ogede, NTA News.
Following the lockdown directive by President Muhammadu Buhari, the Co-Marshal Federal Road Safety Corps, Boboye Oyeyemi, has ordered the shutdown of driver's license database in Abuja with immediate effect, in line with the President's directives to lockdown. Expectedly, the driver's license center will not be able to process licenses for applicants nationwide. However, applicants can go via the bypass mode to process for the license to be delivered after the lockdown period. A statement by the Co-Public Education Officer, Bisi Kazim, announced that the shutdown is aimed at sustaining existing endeavors already in place by the federal government to curtail further spread of the COVID-19. This disclosure will not affect the operational formations of the Corps, as operatives have been deployed to render required essential services in collaboration with other security and intelligence agencies at all levels to enforce both the presidential and state government's directives. When I take you to Lagos for more updates on COVID-19 and other stories with Hingido in Lagos. Hello, Hingido. How is it there?
Kudu. A faith-based organization, Redeemed Christian Church of God, RCCG, has donated essential medical supplies to the Lagos State government. The Assistant General Overseer, Administration and Personnel of the church, Pastor Johnson Odeshola, who presented the medical supplies at the Isolation Center, Mainland Hospital Yaba, said it is to support the efforts of the Lagos State government in equipping the medical facility and personnel with necessary protective gear as they work to contain COVID-19 pandemic. Ken Egbeluge reports.
It is no longer news that COVID-19 is ravaging the world. What is, however, of concern is how the leaders of nations are battling to contain the virus. In Nigeria, government at all levels, individuals and corporate organizations are pulling resources together to combat the pandemic. One of such organizations is the Redeemed Christian Church of God, which has lent its support to those in the front lines of the pandemic. The items donated are 200,000 hand gloves, 8,000 hand sanitizers, and 8,000 surgical face masks.
In order for us also to join force to be able to fight this pandemic, that's why we have been able to do this. Within us, as an organization, we have made arrangements according to our sector to be able to give back to our member in various houses setting, because each family represents a house setting. Give them something, some food, especially this time that majority has to stay home.
It will need to Nigeria that we are united. We are all united to fight against the COVID-19 outbreak. We don't want it to continue in our own country. We want to get rid of it. We want to contain it so that everyone will be back to our normal activity.
The Redeemed Christian Church of God, through its medical units, has built healthcare centers across the country. The latest are the 3 intensive care units in 3 states of the Federation. They are in Lagos, Ogun, and Plateau states. The church says it is committed to enhancing the Nigerian healthcare system. In Lagos, Ken Igbeluge, NTA News.
That's it from Lagos. We now take a break. The news continues with Kudu in Abuja.
Chivita, the home of your trusted juice and refreshment brand in Nigeria, comes another first. Introducing the new cool Chivita in can. Enjoy the same great taste.
So sad. You're feeling blue cause you got nothing to do. You need to step up to the next year.
Step up to the Max deal. Get GoTV Max for less this month. GoTV. Live it, love it.
I think she's got the hots for me. I think she likes me.
I don't think so.
Cut it out. That's my girlfriend. Guys, I'm out. Sweet boy, coming through. I'm all yours.
Ooh. So tasty.
How is it going in there? Pretty cozy.
Mini-Me. Taste the fun.
That channel where you watch just now don't waka. No panic. There's me no panic. You go do it by yourself like ABC. Oh yeah, press the menu button on top your remote. Scroll up and down till you see Information Central. Then press OK.
Press OK.
Check the signal strength and quality. If the signal strength and quality pass 70, make you press the exit button, go back. Go advanced options, then choose installation, then go to reset and press OK.
Press OK.
Wow, now you self fit catch all those channels wey be one miss road by yourself. Yes, make your groove for no loss. You see as I do am, abi?
And I see as I do am.
Go TV, live it, love it.
And I see as we do am.
Nigerians, coronavirus is dangerous. It can kill. When you see this sign, high fever, cough, shortness of breath, drowsiness, pneumonia, don't panic, don't hide, don't embark in self-medication. Promptly visit the nearest medical facility. Report all cases to the nearest hospital. Prevention is key. Avoid contact with infected persons. Avoid crowded areas as much as possible. Wash your hands regularly. Use hand sanitizers. Your life is precious. Stay alive. Live long. Live right. This message is sponsored by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture and the Nigerian Film Corporation. Nigerian Film Corporation, powering possibility.
Back to the studio in Abuja. Skeletal operations in the financial system to be available despite announcement of a lockdown in Lagos, Ogun, and the Federal Capital Territory, FCT. Muplandakon has joined me with details of this on Business News.
Thank you very much, Kudu. On Business News, Nigerians have been assured that they can still perform online transactions and use ATM machines while observing the restrictions imposed by government occasioned by the coronavirus pandemic. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Ahmed Zainab, and the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, in a joint statement, say they have obtained exemptions from the President for all affected stakeholders to allow very skeletal operations in the financial system and money markets to keep the system in light operations during this time. They urged relevant staff of affected outfits to wait for further instructions and urge Nigerians to be patient, cooperative, and united as all hands are on deck to defeat the virus. And stocks were in the red this Monday as the Nigerian stock market adjusts to recent developments concerning the coronavirus pandemic. The equities market closed today on a negative note as investors lost 276.7 billion naira. The all-share index depreciated by minus 2.43% to close at 21,330.79 basis points. Market turnover, however, closed positive as volume moved up by plus 85.71% as against plus 46.03% recorded in the previous session. Mobil led 11 gainers as against 15 losers, topped by MTN Nigeria at the end of the day's session. Maya, Champion and Zenith Bank were the most active to boost market turnover, while Zenith Bank and Guarantee topped market value list. Meanwhile, the prices of oil has fallen back to 18-year low, below $20 per barrel. Most of the world is on lockdown as the coronavirus pandemic rages on. Demand on oil has fallen off a cliff. People are not traveling and businesses are slow. International benchmark crude oil fell 9.6% to trade at $22.54 per barrel, a price which was last seen in 2002. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude dropped 5.1% to trade at $20.40 per barrel. Given the hit to both supply and demand, analysts are projecting that prices will fall steeper in the coming weeks. And that's it on business news. We now join Mina for the next set of reports in Enugu. Hello, Mina.
Hello, Maplang. Good evening and welcome to Enugu. In fulfillment of his promise to curtail the spread of coronavirus in Abia State, Governor Okezie Ikpeazu has equipped one of the isolation centers in Amachara General Hospital, Umuahia, with medical facilities to avert the spread of the scourge. Chinyere Okoli reports.
Facilities in the center include testing kits room, X-ray, dolphin room, 5-bedded isolation wards, each for males and females, ventilators, consulting room, and a room housing 7,000 personal protective equipment, among others. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Joe Osuji, who conducted journalists around the center, noted that the state government also made provision for 100-bedded extension in case of spillover, which has extra 2,500 personal protective equipment, PPE, stressing that an attempt made to procure testing kits was restricted by the National Center for Disease Control, NCDC, who confirmed that 99% of testing kits in circulation today are fake.
This is the level of preparedness we have for this state and for this infection, should it come into our state. But for now, we don't have any case.
The Commissioner for Information, John Okikalo, disclosed that personal protective equipment produced in Abia have been delivered to the state, while the Commissioner for Health will soon ascertain its fitness for use. Governor Ikpeazu, in a recent broadcast to the people and residents of Abia State, assured that the lives and well-being of Abians remain his priority. In Umuahia, Chinyere Okoli, NTA News.
And that's a bit from Enugu. Over now to Muhammad in Abuja for a continuation of the news.
Thank you, Vida. The Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has composed a special investigation team to unravel the immediate and remote causes of the unfortunate tragic explosion that occurred at the Igbesi near Akure, the Ondo State capital, on Friday, the 27th of March, 2020. The team is headed by the Commissioner of Police in charge of the Explosive Ordnance Disposal Unit, Force Headquarters, Abuja, Commissioner of Police Maikudi Shehu. The team will work with experts from the Nigerian Geological Survey Agency. A statement by the Force Public Relations Officer says, Frank Gumba says the IGP enjoins citizens, especially those living around the scene of the incident, to avoid the scene of the explosion so as not to tamper with ongoing investigations. The IGP also sympathizes with the victims. Our last port of call is Sokoto, and Musa Abubakar is our guide.
Welcome to Sokoto. Sokoto State Task Force Committee on COVID-19 has commenced the distribution of personal protective wares to health facilities in the state. Sheikh Mohammed Detti reports that the committee chairman, Dr. Muhammad Ali Nami, while flagging off the distribution, said it is part of the effort to curtail the spread of COVID-19 in the state. The report.
Though no case of COVID-19 was recorded in Sokoto State, efforts are being intensified at prevention. Personal protective equipment that include full gowns, goggles, hand gloves, and disposable bags were among items distributed. The items are to be used by health personnel while dealing with suspected or infected patients of COVID-19. As part of its contribution to curtail the spread of coronavirus, Pharmaceutical Council of Nigeria Sokoto State Chapter presented cartons of hand sanitizers to the task force committee.
And we wish that this support will benefit those that are needing the support.
At a rally to update journalists on BVF issue, Chief Medical Director, Manima Abacha Women and Children Hospital, gave an overview of the BBF, which he said is on the increase. In 2019, 445 cases were handled by the hospital, out of which 423 were operated on, with another set of over 200 routinely prepared. In Sokoto, Show Muhammad Detti, NTA News.
Well, that's it from here. NTA News continues after the break.
Proactive measures in the containment of COVID-19 in Nigeria.
The whole instruments of government are now mobilized to confront what has now become both a health emergency and an economic crisis.
This week on NTA Tuesday Live, assessing the national response on COVID-19 with those who should know. NTA Tuesday Live at 10:30 p.m. Incisive and informative. Don't miss it.
Your information dey important, just like your identity. Now the only way we fit take hala you o. Make you go browse easy.gotvafrica.com. Sign in with your IUC number and mobile number and scroll down to personal details and address. Then check well to see say everything bam. You fit change the one wey not correct. To finish everything, just click the save button and it don't finish.
Thank you. I make sure say my phone number dey correct. That's now why GoTV fit call me make I come collect my own awoof.
Angel, time for my phone in Hawaii because now my correct phone number dey for book.
GoTV, live it, love it.
Report just reached us says President Muhammad Buhari has signed into law the COVID-19 regulations 2020. In the exercise of the powers conferred on him by Sections 2, 3, and 4 of the Quarantine Act, laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and all other powers enabling him in that behalf, President Muhammad Buhari Monday signed the COVID-19 regulations 2020, which declared COVID-19 a dangerous infectious disease. The regulations, effective March 30th, 2020, also gave legal backing to the various measures outlined in the President's national broadcast on March 29th, 2020, such as restriction, cessation of movement in Lagos, Ogun, and the Federal Capital Territory, and others towards containing the spread of the pandemic in the country. We will bring you details of these regulations in our subsequent bulletin. That concludes Network News tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Muhammad Kuda Bakr. Good night.